Yes, this is the video you've all been waiting for. Now, this video isn't just related to Teslas, but all electric vehicles in general. We all heard the stories that owning an electric car is so much cheaper than a gas car because you can charge at home and you don't have to worry about gas and maintaining your engine and all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's all true and all, but the real question we all want to know is how much cheaper is it? And do things like replacing your high voltage battery in an electric car offset the cost of owning an electric car in the long run? So technically it's actually cheaper to get a gas car or even a hybrid vehicle? Well, all your questions will be answered today. What is up, guys? It's Chris with Everydaychris and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you haven't seen my gas versus electric vehicle road trip video, check that out as I talk about the cost differences as well as time differences when taking a gas car or an electric car like a Tesla on a road trip. And at the time when I was doing that road trip video, I was only using Tesla superchargers. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you want to see another electric vehicle road trip video where I just use third-party fast charging stations like Electrify America or EVgo. So before we got our second Tesla Stormbreaker, we had a 2016 Lexus RX 350 F Sport with around 42,000 miles on it. And let me clear the air from my last video. The 2016 Lexus RX 350 is the first Lexus of its kind to allow use of 87 regular gas in the engine without any issues with knocking or miles per gallon and all that. However, with the 2023, they did go back to the premium, so maybe they realized they made a mistake. Now, when you watch this video, try and look at it objectively. I'm just gonna give you the facts and know there are a million variables to consider, so things are always gonna be changing. I do have a video of a true cost of owning a Tesla in your first year, and that goes over things you need to buy like charging and all that equipment, so check that out. And I'm comparing my Tesla Model Y to one of the most reliable, if not the most reliable car brand out there, which is Toyota and Lexus. Now, we did own a Toyota Prius Prime before, but for the sake of price points, I'm just gonna be comparing the Lexus RX 350 and the Tesla Model Y. Now, when you get a new car, it always comes with a warranty. So any issues that arise are fixed for free. So in both cases, the Tesla and Lexus warranty applies. For my Lexus RX 350, the basic new car warranty for Lexus is 48 months or 50,000 miles. This covers mostly all things. I've had issues with door squeaks where they replaced a door hinge, my rear trunk hatch lid broke, my car would have a very rough engine idle, so they added dampener weights. My suspension would squeak, so they replaced the brushings. My 12-volt battery died, so they replaced that. My steering wheel and lock buttons were super loose, so they replaced that. And it was all replaced for free under warranty. See, I'm not defending Tesla, but other companies do have issues as well. Lexus also has a new car warranty called Lexus Care, which pretty much gives you one free oil change and wheel alignment and tire rotation under 5,000 miles. There's also their powertrain warranty, which covers the engine, powertrain, and drive systems for 70,000 miles. And if you get a new hybrid car, they cover the battery for 150,000 miles, which covers certain parts of the battery. So overall, not bad. Now, I haven't had my car long enough with enough miles to need to do any crazy maintenance on the Lexus. So I actually called my local Lexus dealer and I found other prices online. I'm using this one website which estimates the cost of a repair, but they seem to underestimate the cost when I compared it to an oil change, and it seems like it was about a $30 difference. Now for me, I was super frugal with my Lexus. So life hack, I actually just bought my oil on sale from Costco, and I bought the bulk filters online on Amazon. Then since Toyota and Lexus are technically the same, and since it's Toyota, everything including labor is cheaper, I'd simply just take my Lexus to a Toyota dealer with my own oil and oil filter and have them just change that, and they just charge me labor, which was around $40. I'd also just change my own engine and cabin filters. Now, a few things to keep in mind with engine cars: maintenance. With the engine, everyone knows or should know what oil changes are. Actually, never mind. I actually had a friend in college who had no idea they were supposed to change the oil in their car. I don't think they changed it for like 30 or 40,000 miles. However, with pure synthetic oil, you can change your oil every 10,000 miles, which is what I did. So I'm gonna assume the Lexus has been driven for 100,000 miles and needs all these services starting from when you get the car. Now, when I called the Lexus dealer, the cost for an oil change is around $190. But with engines, you also have an engine filter as well as your cabin filter that needs to be changed. For that, it costs $150, which is a scam because of how easy it is to change. However, most people just have the dealer change it anyways. In total, every 10,000 miles, you're looking at about $350, not including taxes and all that stuff. So after that free 5,000 free oil change is done, and strictly following that 10,000 mile service schedule, I'll need about 9 oil changes and filter changes, and it'll cost me around $3,150. Usually with most cars, the 60,000 mile mark is considered a major service. With the local Lexus dealer, they include it in a whole package, so they replace your oil and filters, they rotate your tires, they replace your brake fluid, your smart key batteries, as well as your spark plugs. And for that, you're looking at $1,800. Also, depending on how old your car is, there are other maintenance issues that you may have, like timing belts and water pumps. However, a lot of newer cars use chains instead of belts, which means it never needs to be replaced. However, the water pump does still need to be replaced. This is another major service, so it can cost around $1,100. And again, not everyone has a brand new car with the timing chain, so I'm gonna be including that in the cost. There's also transmission fluid that needs to be changed, and for that, it's most likely around $250 every 30,000 miles. This means it will cost around $780 for 3 transmission fluid changes. And also, because you have a complicated engine, you also have things like engine coolant flushes to do that will cost around $340. And with newer cars, you honestly don't need new coolant flushes until the 100,000 mile mark. Altogether, after the initial 5,000 mile free oil change expires, if my car had 100,000 miles on it, just for engine maintenance, it would cost me, give or take, around $7,170 or $6,000 if you don't need a timing belt replacement. So I think I got the majority of it for engines. Again, prices change based on region as well as manufacturers. Porsche and Mercedes probably cost a buttload more for those services. And there's also life hacks like taking it into a Toyota dealer or a third-party mechanic, which is much cheaper. And let's not forget, Lexus is a very reliable brand. So chances of things breaking is very slim, and you can probably get away with not doing a lot of things. But speaking of brakes, depending on how much you brake, the interval to replace it can be anywhere between 30 to 70,000 miles. For me, at 42,000 miles, I haven't needed to replace them yet. However, based online, it seems the cost to replace them is around $300 per axle. So $600 in total, which seems really cheap, but adding that to the cost of one full brake replacement at 100,000 miles is about $7,770 with the timing belt replacement and $6,600 without. So now we got that maintenance out of the way, let's move on to gas prices. This one's super tough because gas prices are always changing, and it depends on how often you drive, as well as how much you drive. So based on Google, the average time it takes to reach 100,000 miles is 7 years, with a person driving about 15,000 miles a year. So if my Lexus RX 350 gets about 300 miles on a full tank of gas, 300 miles, 15,000 miles a year divided by 300. God, I'm so bad at math. But I'm Asian, how is this possible? Yo, Everyday Jan, can you help me real quick? Okay. So in a year, I'll fill up gas 50 times. And in 7 years, I'd have filled up gas 350 times. Okay, but gas prices are always changing. So looking up the median gas prices for 2022, it was around $5.40 a gallon? No, that can't be right. Wow, it is right. But I don't know, man. I feel like because of COVID and the wars, that's why the gas prices were so crazy. You know what, let's say the average gas prices is $4. So there's an online calculator tool I can use. So my RX gave me about 17 miles per gallon in the city, and the average for my car is 20 miles per gallon in the city and 27 miles on the highway. So I'm just gonna assume 20 miles per gallon. So using this calculator tool, for $4 a gallon, it will cost $20,000 for 100,000 miles of driving. Now, I also want to add tires into the mix because tire replacements in electric cars are more common due to the torque and weight. For the RX, I'd replace my tires every 60,000 miles. However, for me, I did replace it earlier, but just based on statistics, let's just say I did 1 tire replacement in 100,000 miles. So I'm gonna just say I spent $1,000 on tires. So all in all, with engine and tire maintenance as well as gas, it's gonna cost me around $27,600 to maintain my Lexus RX 350 over 100,000 miles. Now with hybrid vehicles, they have an engine and a small battery to deal with, but they also don't need to fill up gas as often, and they don't require as many oil changes. However, just for reference, to replace a Lexus CT200 hybrid battery, it costs $4,500, but you won't need that for at least 150,000 miles. So I'm not gonna add that to anything or to the price. Now, moving on to Zaddy Chill. Again, if I'm going to assume 100,000 miles driven like the Lexus RX. However, when I do actually reach 100,000 miles, I'll make sure I do an updated video on the actual cost. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get there really soon because we've only had the car for a little over 2 years and I already have almost 50,000 miles, all the road trips we go on. So let's quickly go over the Tesla warranty. They have a basic warranty which covers almost any issue with your Tesla up to 50,000 miles. We definitely had a handful of issues with our Tesla, but it was mostly fit and finish issues which were very minor. Very similar to the Lexus, the car was still drivable and all these were covered under warranty. Next is their battery warranty. With their long range Model Y, we have a 120,000 mile warranty with at least 70% battery retention. This means that if anything goes wrong with the battery or if the charge is reduced below 70% during those miles, they will replace the battery for free. And that actually happened to our Model Y where a high voltage battery died at 50,000 miles, but you can go ahead and watch my video for that. I think with Teslas and other electric vehicles, the battery warranty is so important, not just because without it you can't drive the car, but also because of how expensive it is to replace. Mostly all the car manufacturers like BMW, Mercedes, and Hyundai have a 100,000 mile warranty. So with Teslas being 120,000 miles, it's pretty great. Now, one selling point with electric vehicles is less maintenance because no engine. And that still remains true. Even their cabin air filter replacements, instead of 10,000 miles, it's every 2 years and 3 years if you have the HEPA filter with the Model Y. So let's just start with the filters. I have videos on how to replace the cabin air filter, as well as how to get rid of that nasty AC smell in your Tesla Model Y, so check that out. But on Tesla's website, you can easily purchase air filters for $17. The HEPA filter replacement is a little more complicated, but if you can do the cabin air filter, you can easily do the HEPA filter yourself. And I also have a video where I did a HEPA retrofit on my older Model Y, and the cost at the time for the filter was only $70. With Tesla, they don't do things in miles, they do things with time, which is weird. But assuming you need to replace both your cabin and HEPA filter every 3 years, and on average it's about 7 years to get to 100,000 miles, it'll cost about $174 to replace. Now again with Tesla, they make it a point that a lot of things you can do yourself, so I'm not gonna include any labor costs as I really don't know the labor cost to replace a cabin air filter. Now with gas cars, replacing brakes is usually pretty predictable. However, with Teslas and electric cars, it uses the motors to slow down your vehicle. And it's called one pedal driving, where you really need to press the brake. So having to replace the brakes as well as brake fluid is super random. And some people have said you may never need to replace the brakes on your Tesla if you drive it correctly. Especially with the Model 3 and Model Y, the motor does a really good job at slowing down the car compared to the older Model X and Model S's. I mean, I'm looking on the forums and I can't find any accurate information and pricing for brake fluid flushes and replacements for the Model 3 or Model Y. But I did find out you can replace the brakes from any shop as it isn't Tesla specific. I mean, the cost of a brake fluid check was $24. Aside from that, it seems like the major costs are things like wiper blade replacements, as you probably never have to replace your brake pads. As far as tires go, again, because it's an electric car, the tires do need to be replaced a little sooner depending on how you drive. For us, we replaced our stock tires at around 35,000 miles, and honestly, we could have lasted a little bit longer, but we were going on a road trip, so we didn't want to risk it. We replaced it with the more expensive tire, the Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4s. However, with Tesla, we gotta have that performance. For that replacement, it cost us around $1,300. However, the tread is super thick, and this one should definitely last us longer. But all in all, after 100,000 miles, you probably need at least 2 tire replacements, so it costs around $2,600. The next one is a big one, and it's the controversial one, the high voltage battery replacement. It's the one big debate among electric vehicle owners and gas owners. I mean, first off, the pollution it creates to create the batteries, as well as the toxic chemicals for recycling and all that. Also, the chance of you needing a new battery now is very slim, and you have to consider in the future with Tesla creating their own batteries, the prices of these batteries should go down, making it much cheaper. And let's not forget that these batteries generally don't need to be replaced until you need a new car anyways. But let's just say you got a lemon and you need to get it replaced. With the Model Y, it should cost anywhere between $10,000 to $12,000. Next up is electricity. And again, this is a super tough one as it depends on where you live, how often you charge at home, when you charge, etc., etc. However, I just did a solar video where I drove 50 miles a day for 5 days, charged the car during off-peak charging, and it cost us $20 for 5 days of charging. So if I applied the same math to 100,000 miles, it would cost us around $8,000 to charge. Again, it's a super basic calculation because there's a million factors. However, comparing it to $4 a gallon to this, we're keeping it simple. This means for maintenance like air filters and tires and $8,000 of charging, it cost the Model Y $10,774 in 100,000 miles. So to summarize, for maintenance and gas after 100,000 miles, the Lexus costs us $26,600. But again, if you had to replace your timing belt, add another $1,000 or so for that. And for the Model Y, it's $10,774 for maintenance and charging. And we all keep talking about the battery of death. Honestly, I didn't think it would ever happen, but it did happen to us. But what if it wasn't covered under warranty? If we added an extra $12,000 for the high voltage battery replacement, we come in at $22,774 for the Tesla Model Y, which is actually still cheaper than the Lexus RX 350. And that's not including the timing belt replacement. I mean, that's a huge shocker. I honestly thought the Tesla would be more expensive. However, we have to remember one huge thing: no moving engine parts, which means less repairs and less maintenance. So overall, it does seem like the Tesla Model Y is a better and cheaper choice. But honestly, again, with Tesla raising their prices like crazy, or decreasing their prices and changing everything, this range can vary a lot. For instance, right now, if I was to get the new fastest 2023 Lexus RX 350 F Sport today, and I configured it the way I wanted to, it will cost me around $69,000. Whereas a Model Y will cost me $67,000. However, if you do include the California rebate of $2,000, as well as the $7,500 tax credit, it brings the Model Y price down to $57,500, which is actually a really good price. Now again, it's not down to the T calculations, like I didn't calculate tire rotations, which are usually free from America's Tires and Costco, or wiper fluid and wipers. But overall, the cost of owning a Tesla is much cheaper than a gas car. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments below how many miles you have on your baby Tesla and the cost of any major service issues. Anyways guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.